Hello everyone! Today I'll be showing you how to make a nice simple brick wall. So first of all, delete all of your objects and we will start with the plane. So now we must measure this plane carefully. So this is going for an animation, so I'm not gonna try and optimize it very well. If it's going into a game, I suggest optimizing this a lot better, but who cares? Who gives a fuck? So scale, I'm gonna scale this to 0.5 and I'm gonna scale it on the X to 0.5 as well. So now Control A, apply scale. This will be the thickness of our wall and this will be the size of the bricks. So now extrude Z 0.5, that's a 0.5. That's a bit too big, so I'm gonna that's what she said. So I'm gonna set it to 0.35. Let me see how that looks. That's still too big because it's 0.45, 0.35, way too small. 0.4, perfect. So now we got our brick. I'm gonna select everything, Control B, and give it all a small bevel. Because it's going for animation, I'm gonna give it a slightly larger bevel, and I'll change this to be 0.035, so it fits nicely. So now I'm gonna use an array modifier, generate array, not in the x-axis, no, but in the y-axis, and let's set it to, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 looks about right. I'll actually go for 9. 9, yes, very nice. So now I'll go and set the same array modifier but on the z-axis, and I'll change the y factor by 0.5. What? That wasn't supposed to happen. So 0.1 is that far. What the fuck? Oh, I'm a bit dumb. Let me go like this. A, Shift D, GZ. It's 0.4. What? 0.35. 0.4 it is. Yeah, it was 0.4. So Y, and now we go and set it to half. Because of this, we would need to adjust the Y modifier a teeny tiny bit. So it won't be 0.6 but 0.65 probably. Give me a second to look at it. No. 0.675, that's a bit too much. 0.65, 0.66, 0.66. Perfect. So now, with this settled, I'll apply the array modifier. I won't merge anything. Now we are gonna go Control D. I'm gonna set this to rotate from the 3D cursor, which is on the world origin. Then I'll rotate Z 90 degrees. Control M Z. So this will basically flip it over. Now I'm gonna line this up so it's nice and even, like that, and now not like that, but 0.25. Perfect. No, not perfect. GX. And now I'll line this up as well, real quick. Now it is perfect. If you want to, you can make a quick save here. Also, if you want, you can join these together. I'm gonna join them. So now I will I'll use another array modifier, array, but I won't go into the x-axis, I will go into the z-axis. And now I will repeat this a couple of more times. So it looks like this, a nice, pretty brick wall. Perfection. So I'm gonna apply it. Now I'm gonna add a cube here. The cube is too big, so I will shrink it down. Actually, first of all, I think it would be a better idea to move this so it's on the 3D cursor. So the edge is on it. GX. I'll move like this so I can see it better. Alright, now it is on the 3D cursor. Shift A, add cube. Actually, I won't even add a cube, I'll add a plane, because it's a lot easier to work with. So, scale, I'm gonna scale it to something like this. Control A, and apply scale. This part won't be seen. The other part will, but the inner part won't, so I'll move it a bit like that by 0.2. Is it visible? Barely. Yeah, it is visible, damn. So how do I fix this? Simple. I'm gonna go basically subdivide the object, and now with a proper subdivision I'll go 0.6 like that, 0.6 like this. Now I'm wondering, what do I do with in these areas? I'm gonna place a half subdivision there, and I'll delete this. We're gonna need these parts for later. For what? I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. So now I'll go and this will be like kind of like a supporting. So one side will be bigger than the other. For this brick, it won't be this side, it will be this side. So I'll go GY. Let's make it 0.35 bigger. So now A, extrude Z, and 0.4. Nice. Now I'll go select all these edges, and I will give them a very nice and pretty bevel. At this point I would actually suggest hiding this object for a tiny bit. Alright, those are all the edges. Control B. Like that, it's 3 segments. Alright, it isn't forming it. Loop slide, yes. Nice clamp overlap. Yeah, this looks about right. I'll just shrink it down to 0.1, and I will shrink this down to 2. Not 3, but 2. Alright, great. Now, just for my peace of mind, I'll grab these not that edge. I'll grab these edges and I'll snap it to vertex. I'll go now G, Y, and move it by 0.01. That looks fit. So I'll do that on this face as well, on these edges as well. So G, X this time, and move by 0.01. I just don't want to see this area. Now I'm gonna unhide it. And I will actually go into back into edit mode, Shift D, GZ 0.4, and Control M X Y. Yes, rotate Z 90 in the negative. And it's perfectly aligned. Everything matches nicely. Now this side is actually bothering me a bit. It is bothering me quite a bit. So I'm gonna quickly how do I do this? Because if you don't know, there's a small thing here for the Windows recorder which is bothering me. Alright, I managed to hit it. It's blocking my way, that's it. So now I will select these faces, and I will select these faces as well. Because these are both the same brick, it means that I can basically move these faces on a single normal. So if I do individual origins and change it to normal, I unfuck this. I can go GZ, and now I can move these two faces on the normals. Check it out. Well, I don't understand why this is glitching. Oh, that's why it's glitching. First of all 10, recalculate outside, now GZ, and you can see what I mean. So GZ, and I will move it so it covers these parts nicely. And that does it. Now I have an option. Either I want it to look like this, or I will make it so it goes like this. But I like how it looks now, so I'll go add another array modifier, change it so it moves on the Z factor for 1, and set the X factor for 0. And I'll just multiply this a couple of times. No, don't move that. And now it has reached the top. So you can see how our wall looks now. Looks very nice, very pretty. I'll apply it. I want mergenting. Let me quickly show you all the vertex count. 26,000 Hz isn't very optimized, very bad for video games. In video games use normal textures, normal maps, I mean. And if you're really adventurous, normal maps and displacement maps. So yeah. Now I'm gonna add a plane. I'll shrink it down to approximately this size, 0.5. Apply scale and move it on the Z axis until I reach this point. So now I'll move it on the Y axis for 0.2, on the X axis for 0.2, and I'll go here, extrude Z, and I will make this wall thicker than my mother. Actually, no, I scratched that. I was joking, alright? Cut. So now we are gonna add an array modifier, because this is the positive x direction, and we need to go into the negative x direction. I'll set the x to be -1. And now I will add. First of all, I need to select everything and give it a slight bevel so we can actually differentiate between these tiles. I'll set this bevel to be 4, and I'll set the bevel size to be 0.025. Actually, I'll set it to be 2. And now we'll just move these tiles so they're all the way across. I'll show you how I'm gonna do this part later. And now I'm also gonna do this Shift D, and I will separate this tile into a new object. Alright, now generate array, not on the x-axis, no, on the y-axis, and I'm gonna set it as 1. And now we're gonna go the same amount in the y, which means I believe 10. So it looks nice. And I will apply this. Then I'm gonna select this tile, X, delete face. Perfect. Control J, actually Control C. Apply the array modifier, Control J. A, Alt 10, recalculate outside. Then we are going to do the same thing here. A, Alt 10, recalculate outside. A, Alt 10, recalculate outside. So now, because we know that this is at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th meter, I'm gonna add another plane. I'm gonna scale it down so it's 0.4. I'm gonna move it into x-axis by 1 and the y-axis by 1 by 0.1. Alright, nice. So now I'll go G, Y, and I'll slide it over here. As you see, it covers most of it. I'll go G, X, and move it so it's relatively straight. And I'll go back a bit, like that. Perfect. Now I'll go extrude Z 0.4. You can actually change these numbers however you like. They just need to be relatively equal for their own individual group. So A, Control B, and I'll bevel it so it has a 0.1 bevel modifier. Nice. So now we're gonna form our first pillar. Array 0 here on the Z plus 1 offset, and we are gonna just build it up. So we are gonna apply it, and now Shift D, GX, 9 meters, GY, negative 9 meters. Perfect. Now I'm gonna save this quickly. I'm gonna call this wall brick save file. Alright, great. Great. So now, because I know all of you don't want to have spaces in your wall, I'm gonna add yet another plane. Also, I suggest organizing all of this. I just click on the object because it's easier. But alright. So I'll scale these to be 0.3. I'll move them on the x-axis by 0.1 and on the y-axis as well by 0.1. And actually I will need to move them a bit more. GX. Okay, man, let me see. I highlight that. 0. First of all, this size is a bit too big. That's what she said. So now I'll hide these objects, and I'll select my plane. I'll scale it down to 0.5 of the scale the down size. Actually, you know what, I'll just add another plane so it's easier for all of you to understand. Now I'll scale it down to 0.15. You can scale it more precisely by holding shift if you didn't know, although I doubt it. Yes, you probably know this. So now I'll go GY 0.25 on the X and Y axis. Alright, now Control A, apply scale. I'll go edit mode, and now from below I'll select this edge and I'll extrude it on the X. On the, what the fuck? I'll select this edge, I'll extrude it on the Y axis, the global Y, not the normal Y. And I'll select this size to be like, yeah, let me check something real quick. Yeah, this is good. So 9 meters. I'll go and do the same thing on the other side. Extrude X, and because this is a negative X, negative 9 meters. Select everything, extrude Z by 9, by 4, 5, 5.5, 5.6, 5.6 meters. So now I'll unhide everything, and yeah, now you have a middle layer which is low poly. And that's how you make the quote-unquote normal object, or just the base object of a brick wall, which is ready for animation. So now this is the end of part 1. I'll make a part 2 later on. I'll finish it right now though, for myself of course, then I'll upload them individually.